Welcome to Dirshu Daf Yomi Ba'alocha. We're learning today Siman Tov Tzadi Gimel, Sif Gimel, and Sif Dalet Be'ezras Hashem. We've been discussing the halachas of Sfiras HaOmer. We said that the Mechaber holds that in fact the 34th of the Omer in the morning, the restrictions are eased and a person can have a haircut, marriages, etc. The Ramah, however, holds that applies on the 33rd in the morning. There are other customs, however, as we'll see, and that hold that the 33 days are toward the end of the Omer, not the beginning 33 days of the Omer or 34 days of the Omer, but rather at the end of the Omer. There's different customs. If we go straight to the Bi'alocha says, he explains that the Mechaber's opinion is that the 34th of the Omer is the day that the Talmidim Rabbi Akiva stopped dying, and therefore the first 33 days of the days that they kept a Sfira. However, the Ramah holds like the opinion of the Gaon. The Gaon holds on the 33rd they stop dying, and therefore the 33rd is the day that in the morning that the Sfira restrictions are stopped. However, there's a third opinion which the Bi'alocha brings, and that is just to take any 33 days of the Omer. Obviously, there's a certain minhagim how to do it, not exactly in line with the 33 days necessarily that the Talmid of Rabbi Akiva died. For example, the Bi'alocha brings the minhag. He says that some have the minhag that they keep the entire Omer with the exception of the 7 days of Pesach, the 6 days of Shabbos throughout the weeks of the Omer, and 3 days of Rosh Chodesh, 2 days of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and 1 day of Rosh Chodesh Sivan. So 7, 6, and 3 makes 16, and therefore the rest of the Omer makes 33 days of the Omer. Thereby that would mean that if that's the case, that they died through every day when there's no tachanun, so to speak, or every day when it's not considered an important day of the Omer, I should say, important day, like a Yom Tov type of day, a Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, or a Yom Tov, that leaves us 33 days, that they died 33 days, and in honor of those 33 days, or because of those 33 days of Omer are kept, but not necessarily the same days that the Talmidei of Rabbi Akiva died. So we'll see, Be'ezras Hashem, there's a custom that the 33 days begin the day after Rosh Chodesh Iyar, meaning that since Iyar has 29 days in it, the day after Rosh Chodesh Iyar is 28 days. If you add to that the 5 days before Shavuos, that makes 33 days. And if that's the case, if one keeps that minhag, then on Shavuos morning, and only from Shavuos, Erev Shavuos morning, the last day of those 33 days, we can say Miksasim Kukula. As you know, Miksasim Kukula, we explained yesterday, is a principle that the last day of Avedus from the morning, the restrictions are eased, and therefore on Erev Shavuos, from the morning one could have a haircut if one kept that custom. So again, the point we're saying here is there are various customs. The Mechaber's custom is the first 33 days are absolutely kept as the days of the Omer, the Avedus of the Omer. The 34th is when one has a haircut. The Ramah holds the 32 days are kept absolutely, and the 33rd one has a haircut. There is as opinion that Rabbi Alocha brings, that there's actually 33 days that they didn't die with the 33 days that are not Shabbos, Rosh Chodesh, or Yom Tov. And based on that, there's various other ways of keeping 33 days. One example is to keep from the day after Rosh Chodesh Iyar until Shavuos, and then Erev Shavuos one could have a haircut. That's the 33rd in the morning. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Sif Gimel. Yesh Negin Listaper, some have a custom to have a haircut. Rosh Chodesh Iyar, on Rosh Chodesh Iyar, the Tammuz will be ultimate. This is a mistake, because the first 33 days have to be kept as a whole, as days of Sfira, according to the opinion of the Mechaber. Yeah. Says the Ramah Hagar, however, but Harba Mekomis, there are places, many places, Noyagim, they have a custom, they stop it at Rosh Chodesh Iyar. In fact, they only begin the restrictions of the Omer at Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And if according to these opinions, you would be able to have a haircut actually on Rosh Chodesh Iyar, as we said, because they keep the last 33 days of the Omer. But I said, however, those people, they shouldn't have a haircut milag ba'omer ve'elech. They can't have a haircut from lag ba'omer and on. Afal Sheikh Mutter de Stapa Lag Ba'omer Ba'atzma, although Lag Ba'omer is a day which is permitted to have haircuts, even according to this opinion. But as they say, you can't burn the candle at both ends. You can't have haircuts till in Nisan and then again after Lag BaOmer. If so, one is only keeping 17 or 18 days of the Omer. But Oisan Mekomas in those places, Shenoigin is type of Lag BaOmer Ve'elech, but they have haircuts from Lag BaOmer, Lo Yistapru Klalacha Pesach and Lag BaOmer. They keep the bulk of the day of the Omer, days of the Omer they keep for the first 33 days. But Lo Yiragu Be'erachas, they want you to, they shouldn't keep custom mixas minagzeh, to have two customs in one city. Partial people do like one custom, partial people that do like the other custom. That should not be done, but Moses goes to because one shouldn't make groups. Not to burn the candle at both ends. Says the Mishnah Brura Sivkotzen Yud Dalad. Yesh Negen. There are those that have a custom, they have a haircut on Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and it's a mistake. Says the Mishnah Shulchan Aruch Avor Big Surah. I will explain. To the Kuli Alma Negen is a Lamad Gibul Yomim. As I explained myself in the Akdama a few moments ago, we said that everybody agrees it's 33 days. Ach Yesh Bazem Minhagim Shem. There's different Minhagim. How it works out. Yesh Lochalech Al Tam Minhag. Each place has got a reason for keeping his minhag. As we explained from the Bialacha. Some keep the first 33 days from Pesach to Lag BaOmer. From then on, at Shavuos until Shavuos, the Kibru Alai Shabbos is completely permitted. However, at Lag BaOmer, is completely forbidden till Lag BaOmer. Some say to the other extreme, they'll keep the Omer, but not the first 16 days. The Hainu ad Yom Sheni Shel Rosh Chodesh Iyar, but ad Bechlal. That means it was the first 16 days, which takes us from Pesach until Rosh Chodesh Iyar inclusive. Those days they would not keep the restrictions of the Omer. But from then on, ad Shavuos Shulamed Gimel Yom. From then on, meaning the other 28 days of Iyar and 5 days for Shavuos, so 33 days. Shulamed Gimel Yomim. Ein Matir Shum. They don't do En Shum Yom. Everything is completely forbidden. Lag BaOmer, there is a leniency. Lag BaOmer is quite clear. Everybody keeps either lad or lag, but this opinion will be lag. But in the afternoon, the late morning and afternoon of Lag BaOmer is permitted. And then it comes out, somebody who holds the rope on both ends. To be Yodam, that's a mistake, and that's Mechaber pointed that mistake out. One can't be lenient before Iyar and also be lenient from Lag BaOmer. For Oisan lo yisapru me Lag BaOmer ve'elech, those who keep the second part of the Omer, they mustn't have a haircut from Lag BaOmer. But whatever that means, ad Shavuos, mamash to absolutely till Shavuos. As we explained, that their Omer restrictions begin the day after Rosh Chodesh Iyar, and it takes it absolutely till Shavuos. Yeah. And obviously the haircut would be permitted on Erev Shavuos after, because of Mixium Kikulei. That would be the 33rd day, and have a haircut Erev Shavuos after the morning. Now, then the Mishnah brings another minhag. Says the Mishnah, our minhag actually in our countries is we would allow haircuts and marriages on the 3 days before Pesach, meaning 3rd, 4th, and 5th of Sivan. Okay, and therefore, Masakan Mogan Avram says, if that's the case, if you want to have those 3 days before Shavuos with permissibilities, then you have to be careful. Then one has to, on the other end of the scale, not have any. One has to impose the restrictions on those first 2 days of Iyar to make up for the 3 days of before Pesach, and there's still one more day which we're going to have restrictions on. So the Mishnah Brura says the Gamba Rishon Shalimag Bala Babeka Dafka Taminu Mixium Kikole. So instead of having the 3 days before Shavuos absolutely free, we'll have 2 days completely free, 4th and the 5th, and the 3rd we'll have Mixium Kikole from the morning. It's going to be permitted. Then Canaan, if so, at the data by doing so, Yushlam Lamad Gil Yamim Shan Nogim Abedis says the Mishnah Brura in our countries, that would be the Omer would begin the first day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. That means 1 day of Nisan, the last day of Nisan, the 30th of Nisan, which is the first day of Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Then one has 29 days so again, that's right. The last day of Nisan, 29 days of Iyar, and the first 3 days of Sivan, with the 3rd day being Mixas Hayom Kikure, beginning of Shmos Megvola, 3 days of Hagbola, which is Mixim Kikure, is permitted from the morning. Chayadam writes the Shekhinah Minagam Kim Kilas Kodesh Vilna, and Vilna, this was a custom. Shenegin Isam Yom Echad Rosh Chodesh Iyar at Gimel 7 Baboika, that they kept this custom from Rosh Chodesh Iyar inclusive till the third day, the day of Sivan in the morning. Muvad, with the exception of Lag Ba'omer, Nogin Beheta, which is permitted on all accounts. Some places have the custom that only lenient on Rosh Chodesh Iyar of Lag Ba'omer and Lag Ba'omer, of Rosh Chodesh Sivan at Shavuos. And only on these days, and the rest of the Omer, they keep the entire Omer. You don't have either yet place Kolechot Kafiminag Mekomai. Each place should go according to his custom. So this is another minhag to keep the entire Omer with the exception of Rosh Chodesh Iyar, like Omer, Rosh Chodesh Sivan until Shavuos. And Dirshu bring Rav Moshe Feinstein, who explains this minhag, that this minhag holds that one has again. The days of Pesach, including Isru Chag, and also the last day of Nisan, which is Rosh Chodesh, leaves us with 6 days of Nisan. Iyar, with the exclusion of Rosh Chodesh Iyar and Lag Ba'omer, is 27 days. 27 plus 6 is 33, which is 33 days of the Omer. Sivkot and Tezayin. So the Mishnah Berurah has given us various customs, and he says, however, that to take on partially like one custom and partially like the other custom, be lenient on both accounts, that is not acceptable. And also he says in one city one shouldn't have some doing like this custom and some doing like the other custom. Some doing like this and some doing like that is not applicable, although nowadays they bring that in our countries, particularly after the Muhammad, that everybody has their own minhag. It's well known that they have their own minhag. The situation has changed and people can keep the different minhagim. Yeah, additionally, they should bring down from Moshe Feinstein an additional point from Moshe Feinstein that a person can change his minhag from one year to the next. 1 year keep the first part, and the second year to keep the second part. Additionally, as minhag Arizal to keep the entire Omer and not to have a haircut at all the entire Omer until Erev Shavuos. So we've got quite a number of minhagim. Let's just summarize to make things clear. The Mechaber holds that from Pesach till day 34, everything is also day 34. It's mutter mikvah kekula. The Ra brings a minhag. Everything is also from Pesach till day 33. Day 33 is mutter mikvah kekula. The Tosfos explains that there could be that the Talmidim died on all days apart from Yom Tov, Rosh Chodesh, and Shabbos, which leaves 33 days, which could be a similar idea to the minhag of Arizal, the entire Omer not to keep the entire Omer. Not have a haircut the entire Omer, although it's according to and the question is the which 33 days it is. So there are different customs how to keep the 33 days. There are those, as we said, who don't keep the exact 33 days. That could be perhaps not the 33 days that they actually died, but 33 days are kept, and that's either by keeping from the day after Rosh Chodesh Iyar up till Shavuos, till Erev Shavuos in the morning and have a haircut. That's 33 days. Or to start from Rosh Chodesh Iyar inclusive, and that takes you till the 3rd of Sivan, and 3rd of Sivan in the morning. It's relieved. It's permitted. Or like the Mishnah Berurah brings into context over the end, that they keep the 6 days after Pesach till Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and the 27 days in Iyar, with the exclusion of Rosh Chodesh Iyar and Lag Ba'omer. Says the Mishnah Berurah to Cotton Yadain. Het bestein, one must not take the leniencies of both counts. The Hainus of Cotton Yadain, Sheyinak to Heta and Rosh Chodesh Iyar to be lenient. Rosh Chodesh Iyar, like the latter opinions we've mentioned. Gavinak Heta b'dam b'omer b'erech. And that says also to be lenient because for Rishona, like the Shulchan Aruch, etc., to be lenient from Lag Ba'omer. These are contradictory colors. You can have a take on the stringencies of both minhagim. The Hainu Shinak is to be Pesach at Erev Shavuos, to keep the minhagim from Pesach till Erev Shavuos, or Adiyam Rishon Shel Hagbola, or till the 3rd of Sivan, Lag Ba'omer, with the exclusion of Lag Ba'omer, which seems to be the Arizal's custom, the entire Omer. Although the Arizal only had a haircut in Erev Shavuos, not even Lag Ba'omer, as far as I know. Although these two chumras contradict each other, it's not considered like he's a fool going in dark, taking on everybody's chumras. It's clear from here, by the way, that it's not simple just to take chumras from from everybody. But here, particularly, this is mutter. When a person has a doubt, he can absolute doubt when the day, which days he should keep. He can be machman on both fronts. We don't know which minhag is correct. It's not just out of random being strict. Nevertheless, says the Mishnah Berurah on the thin lines, we come up with the last thin line. Ein tzarich la'asos kinyan, one doesn't need to do so. Eliyacha litzvah is ein minhag shir, so you can keep whichever minhag, and we've given plenty of them. Ein le'lacha shem yin minhag hamakom ha'elei kain. Needn't worry, maybe the minhag of this place isn't so. The given to minhag ba'alma. Ein la'achma b'sfeik. A person's got a sofek. You needn't be machmei. You can just take any of the minhagim. Awal im yadua le'minhag hamakom. That's assuming there's no specific minhag in this place. There's a specific minhag in this place. Ein le'shanis, you should keep the minhag of the place. Bein l'hakal bein l'achma, whether it's being lenient or to be strict. Sif Dalet. Women are accustomed to not to do work from Pesach till Shavuos on from Shkia from sunset and onwards. This is an interesting minhag. The Mishnah, first of all, the Dusha 34 says malacha only means absolute malacha, proper activity a person's involved in, a significant activity. Also excludes cooking and baking and cleaning. It means to sit down and write a letter or to act of washing clothes or something that's permitted. But something we just needs a little bit of washing some dishes or to write something down quickly. That's okay. Just to do a fixed firm work. The truth is that many places don't have the minhag anymore to do such not to do work, and this is brought in the Chuvas Yativ, I believe, is the Kloisenberger Rebbe. The Shulchan Aruch does say it's a minhag of women. Mishnah Berurah says straight away as well, men have this minhag not to do work. The Arizal, however, the Eli Rabbah points out from the Sefer Tanya, which is not Tanya, which is Ambuli Adi, it's a Kadmon, an earlier source. He says that this minhag was for women, Zeichel and Noshim Sidkonias, as a memorial, a reminder for the women, her righteous shed Kodmo Etil Talmidav Asik Bohem, that they were involved in the Talmud of Rabbi Akiva, tried to look after them and help them and bring them back and make them better and look after them. And therefore, women have a minhag not to malacha from Pesach to Shavuos from the time of Shkia. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sekot Yotes, Hatam, the reason is, Shenikbru Achas Shkia Sachem, what's specific about this time? Because at the time of Shkia from sunset, that's when these Talmidim were buried. And at that point, people don't do malacha during a burial. The Torah brings another reason. That is, because from Shkia is when the time when a person counts the Omer. Over Omer Ksivan, with regard to the Omer, the Pasuk says Sheva Shavuos is 7 weeks. Lashon Shavuos, and Shavuos comes from the word of stopping, of refraining. The time of Sphira, a person should refrain from doing work. According to this reason, take it for the prohibition, the minhag is not to do malacha from Shkia till time. Yet from Shkia till time of Kantel Omer. Once it's time of Kantel Omer, this minhag is stopped. And practically speaking, generally speaking, this minhag is not kept anyway. Thank you, Rabbi Isai.